good afternoon. My name is Isaac Sosa, and I am an agent here in the Research Triangle Park in North Carolina. Today I want to talk about Naca, the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. It's a special loan product that has helped thousands of low to moderate income individuals be able to achieve that dream of homeownership. It's truly an amazing product, and there is no product like it in the market. So today I'm going to be going over what it takes to get qualified with Naca really quickly, and I'm going to be going over what is required to be able to go through the Naca program, and then also I'm going to touch on how you can become a Naca member and essentially achieve that dream of homeownership through the Naca program. Just a little background information about me. I've been a real estate agent since 2008 here in the area, and for some time I was originating mortgages for Naca. I did that for about 3 years, and there I learned how to package a Naca deal, how to get members qualified quickly, and how to avoid the hurdles that come with the Naca program, that way facilitating a quicker transaction as a whole and getting somebody approved quickly. So, little overview about Naca. Naca got started in the late 1980s by a man called Bruce Marks. He is the current CEO of Naca. So Bruce Marks had an idea to sort of kind of bring about change to the real estate industry, especially to the mortgage industry as a whole, where back in the 80s there were laws, especially in Chicago, which would redline certain areas to where buyers could not purchase in those areas because it's very expensive to purchase in those areas. There's actually laws in the books that said that certain individuals could not purchase in those areas. But over the years with the regulations, things have definitely changed. And Naca has been the advocate for the low to moderate income individuals, and they've brought a lot of change to the industry, the mortgage industry as a whole, in making homeownership more affordable to individuals, low to moderate income individuals. So they quickly grew. They partnered with Bank of America. Bank of America is their original partner, and they're still partners with them. So Bank of America, essentially what they do is that they give them the funds to be able to lend to these low to moderate income individuals. And why does Bank of America really want to do this? Why would they want to lend to individuals that don't have a great credit score, or individuals that maybe they don't have a down payment? Because as you know, with Naca there's no down payment requirements, so somebody can purchase a property with zero down payment, no closing costs, no fees or points, and then you have the ability to buy your interest rate all the way down to 1/8%, which is amazing. No other lender that I know of has this interest rate reduction, it goes to almost 0%, and this is a permanent reduction for 30 years. So why does Bank of America lend to individuals that don't have a great credit score, or individuals that don't have down payment? The reason for that, and the reason they're partners with Naca, is because of the Reinvestment Act of 1977. So the Reinvestment Act of 1977 states that each lender, each mortgage lender, or each bank has to lend a certain amount a certain percentage of their portfolio has to be comprised of low to moderate income individuals. So what Bruce Marks did is that he proposed to Bank of America um, that he would help them reach their goals of providing home ownership to low to moderate income individuals, and then Bruce Mark would get these people ready to home ownership, even if they weren't ready. Bruce Marks was going to get them there and be able to close the loan, and then Bank of America was going to fund the loan, and then everybody was going to be happy, right? Because who wouldn't want a below interest rate mortgage rate, especially when you are a subprime borrower, someone that doesn't have a great credit score, somebody that doesn't have the funds for a down payment, and Bank of America pays the closing costs for those individuals, which is it's a win-win for everyone. So the bank is able to achieve their goals in being able to meet what that act requires. Bank of America in turn funds the loan. Naca helps Bank of America get these buyers to them and being able to provide them a low to moderate income individual, so that Bank of America can essentially get the numbers that they require in order for them to get that incentive from the government. And then third, they can Naca wins because for every loan that they originate, they get paid. They get paid a certain amount on every loan that they originate, and they're helping also their community, and they're helping the low to moderate income borrowers achieve that dream of home ownership. Naca is also a HUD certified counseling agency, which means that even if you're not ready, whenever you come to the program, even if you're not ready, they're going to help you get to where you need to be. They're going to tell you, they're going to give you a task list. They're going to tell you, okay, these are the things that you need to do. And then once you complete those items in that task list, then Naca will be able to approve you. And just know the great thing about Naca is once you approve with Naca, you're gonna be able to close on your loan. You're gonna be able to close on your loan. There's not gonna be just because Naca does everything up front. They'll verify income, they'll verify the assets to make sure that you have the minimum required funds. Naca does require you to have some money put aside to be able to get qualified with them, which typically ranges between $3,500 to $4,500. And the reason Naca requires you to have certain money saved is because they know that once you get on the contract, you're going to have to come up with an earnest money deposit or a deposit. Here in North Carolina, we also have a due diligence fee, which covers the due diligence period for the buyers to do their inspections. So here in this area, it ends up being about 1% of the purchase price, so the due diligence ends up being about 1% of the total purchase price. The minimum required funds also consist of the prepaids. So depending on the month that you close, prepaids can vary, but the prepaids is the amount of money that the lender will put aside for your taxes, your insurance, and typically ends up being anywhere between 3 to 6 months of taxes, property taxes, and another 3 months of homeowners insurance, and also it includes 1 year of homeowners insurance paid up front that the lender requires. and in turn, those funds are set aside into an escrow account. And every year, as you start making your mortgage payments with Naca, or every month, you'll get a statement, and in the statement, it's going to include your principal, your interest, your taxes, and your insurance. So that's why they're required to have certain money set aside, because they know that you're going to need it, right? Even though there's no closing costs, there's no down payment requirement. So with that being said, so once that is verified that you have the minimum required funds, now Naca is going to check to see if you are income qualified. So basically, they want to make sure that you've been in your job for at least 2 years. Not necessarily in the same job, but in the last 2 years that you haven't had any gaps of employment greater than 30 days. If you've had any gaps of employment, then you have to explain the reasons why you had the gap. And in some cases, you have to wait 1 year from that. If you had a gap greater than 30 days, you have to be in your current job for at least 1 year before you can get approved with Naca. Every situation is different. So Naca does not conform to Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae's guidelines. This is a portfolio loan, and they do not sell this loan on the secondary mortgage market, which means that they're flexible on what they can, what their guidelines, what they can provide. What they're flexible on, the income requirements. There is no income maximum requirement. There's no income minimum requirement. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer. You can't own a property. When you come to the program, you can't own any other property unless that property was given to you either by inheritance. So if you received a property inheritance and you have that property and you can prove that you received it via an inheritance, then Naca is not going to require you to sell that house. So, I think that's the only exception there to that rule. But anyone that's coming to the program can't have ownership interest in any other property, which means that even if your name is on the deed, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to live in the property. They just wanted to make sure that you don't have any other ownership interest in another property. And the reason for that is because they're trying to keep the program. They're trying to keep it to where only people that actually need the program, and not that investors are taking advantage of Naca's great rates to be able to make money, right? And then Naca and the lender have a contract, like any partnership. Naca has to be able to provide the low to moderate income individuals. They can't have ownership interest on a property. And in terms of payment history requirement, even though Naca is not going to be looking at or focus on your credit score, they are solely looking at the payment history. And what they're looking for in terms of payment history of what the payments that you're making on a monthly basis on your active liabilities, your trade lines of credit, which could be your credit cards, your student loans, it could be your car loan, installment loans. So for those items, Naca, when they pull credit, they want to see a payment history, on-time payment history, which means that you haven't lapsed greater than 30 days, right? Because a creditor is not going to report a late payment unless you've been late for at least 30 days or more. So if you have 30 days of on-time payments, or you have at least 12 months of on-time payments, and you've been on time with all your liabilities that are currently reporting on your credit, and you have at least 3 trade lines of credit, NACA is going to require you to have at least 3 trade lines of credit. If you don't have 3 trade lines of credit with on-time payment history of at least 12 months, then NACA is gonna ask you for alternative lines of credit. This is gonna be your phone bill, your utility bills. It can be your light bill, it can be your internet bill, it can be your cable bill, it can be your gas bill. It can be anything that you're paying on a monthly basis, and they want to make sure that you've been paying those bills on time for the last 12 months. So with that being said, if you have good payment history, at least in the last 12 months, with collections, if you have any collections, outstanding collections, NACA is going to look at the date from the day that they pull the credit. They want to make sure that any collections that are inside the last 24 months, anything that is within the last 24 months, NACA is going to require you to make either settle with them, paid in full, or get into a payment plan. Don't recommend getting into a payment plan, because if you do so, if you get into a payment plan with any outstanding collection agencies, it's going to be counted in your debt to income ratio, which means that you're going to be able to qualify for less if it's a big payment. So I don't recommend doing that payment because it's going to negatively affect you. Best case scenario is for you to make the payment in full, or to settle with the collection agency and pay less than the amount owed. That is the best case scenario. And then all you have to do is provide proof to NACA that you've made the payment, and that's it. That's going to override that collection on your credit report. Okay, so any collections that are within the last 24 months, they have to be addressed. And you have to write a letter of explanation explaining the reason why you got to that collection, what you did to try to satisfy the collection, and why isn't this going to occur in the future. And then you got to sign it and date it. Anything outside of the 24 months, any collections, NACA doesn't require you to pay it, so don't pay any collections unless you want to. Any collections that are outside of the 24-month period, because you can use that money for your minimum required funds if you have it. Any collections outside of the 24 months. But the NACA is going to require you to write a letter of explanation explaining, again, the reason why you got into that collection, what you did to try to satisfy that collection, and why is it not going to occur in the future. You date it and you sign it. And for any, NACA also looks in your credit report. NACA also look in your credit report the any liens, judgments, or any tax liens as well. These are things that can be attached to the property, so you want to make sure, NACA is going to want to make sure that you don't have any of these items, and if you do, you have to address it. It's going to be part of your task list. You have to address it. The lender will not lend unless these items are addressed, meaning you've paid or you've settled with these companies or creditors, so that you can move forward with the NACA process. A lot of people get stuck in the payment history. And the reason why you hear people say, oh, it took me so long to get qualified with NACA. Well, the real reason why it took so long to get qualified for NACA really is because of their situation. Because maybe they didn't have, when they came to the program, they weren't making their payments on time. Then they had to wait at least 6 months for them to make the payments on time before they can get qualified. And I mean, as long as you meet NACA's criteria, you'll be able to get qualified. As long as you meet with your task list, you're going to get a task list after your first counseling appointment, and that task list is going to be your roadmap to home ownership. So the faster you take care of the items on that task list, the faster you'll get qualified, the faster you'll be in your home, the faster you'll be able to move into that beautiful home. So I hope this helps a lot of you. I'm going to be making more videos, more in-depth videos about different sections of what it takes to get qualified with Naca. And not only that, but I'll be also doing a lot more videos on tips and about the whole real estate process as a whole as well. So thank you for your time. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so that you can see any upcoming videos. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.